how can they vanish from the
How can they
from
what?
the
Say it again.
so,
How
so
can
they,
they? What's your question? How can they do what?
how can they vanish? You said some trees already left and some trees remaining, few trees are there. So how can they vanish from that place? I mean, where it's something that is not comprehensible clearly. I mean, how did the trees vanish, or they died a slow,
Both.
they perished from the scene?
Both. In
Okay.
Varsana, there was a big uproar because some of the local Vaishyas or merchants, they wanted to chop down trees in Varsana. And it was a showdown. It was like the sadhus against the Vaishyas. And it was nearly bloodshed, and the sadhus won. They protected the trees. But the local Brijvasis, they don't have the same regard spiritually for holy places that you and I do. They see it as money, and they're ready to do whatever they need to do to get money. You know, some people are like that, isn't it? And some
Yeah.
Brijvasis are like that also.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj, for that explanation. Maharaj, one more thing I wanted to ask you regarding the Airavat Kund and the Indra Kund that you are talking about.
Okay.
So my understanding is these kunds are formed when that particular, like Indra is offering Abhishek to the Supreme Lord. That time the kunds are formed. Is
No.
that understanding correct, Maharaj?
No. The Govinda Kund, as we heard, is where the Airavata elephant placed celestial waters on the body of Krishna, and Surabhi placed her milk on the body of Krishna, forming Govinda Kund. Now, the water that's on the other side, as far as I understand it, it's the place where they landed from the heavenly realm on that side, marking the place where they landed, not marking the place where they bathed the Lord.
Okay, Maharaj. Got it. Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Are there any other questions from anybody? Rishabh Prabhu, can you unmute yourself? You raised your hand.
Yep. Hare Krishna Prabhu, hope I'm audible. Yep. Hare Krishna, dear Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for your wonderful glorification of Govardhana Hill. It really brings out such nice feelings for a youngster like myself. So I would like to kindly help me to understand how, like my generation, how should we carry the great satisfaction that we derive from such such pastimes, and carry it to like our everyday life, and deal with the feelings that sometimes that might arise by seeing unkindness towards other people all around us. So it's like it confuses me, and I would just like to understand how we should persevere and retain the goodness, like the purity in heart, in order to like really stay true to Srila Prabhupada's mission and be the best we can. Really like your guidance on this, Maharaj. Thank you.
Well, it's not a generational conflict. As if, older generation had no such. It has not to do with generational, but it has to do with the covering of the soul or the contaminations of the soul that are embarrassing and not easy to get rid of. So, your question restated is how to develop Vaishnava qualities. And in a consistent activation of Vaishnava qualities, although the tendency is otherwise. The tendency are the contaminated, not Vaishnava tendencies that we grew up with and are carrying for who knows how many lifetimes. So how to develop Vaishnava qualities is a topic that I spoke about Prakash perhaps can direct you to where you can hear that recording during the Vyasa Puja weekend. It was so much appreciated that I was asked, can you develop a whole seminar on that topic? But the principle is two things. The principle is bhakti has the power to cleanse everything that's undesirable. Chaita Darpana Marjanam, the holy name and the bhakti process inspired by the holy name. And as bhakti awakens, good qualities follow. And there's more to say that should we just do bhakti and don't worry about good qualities? No. We want to cultivate bhakti, but we want to cultivate good qualities for the pleasure of Krishna, which is the essence of bhakti. So then, same question, how to develop good qualities? Well, you go down the list. I suggest that you read carefully chapter 13, text 8 through 9. And read it again and again and again. Chapter 13, Bhagavad Gita, text 8 through 9, 8 through 12. And another place that you can find the same description is Canto 7, Chapter 11, where the qualities of a saintly person are described in detail by Narada to Yudhishthira. So when you know what good qualities are, you aspire for those good qualities by association with quality devotees. Hear from them, serve them, listen carefully to their instructions. You try to apply their instructions. And Krishna is the quality decorator. He has a big warehouse, good quality warehouse. And he'll decorate you if you're trying to please him. But you need to know what's pleasing and what's not according to worldly sensibility, but according to Krishna's indication. And you strive like that, and those good qualities will become your decoration. Compliments of the decorator Krishna.
Haribol, thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, there are 3 more questions if we have time.
I have time, go.
So, Srida Prabhu, can you please unmute?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for this Govardhana Parikrama. We actually missed the Govardhana Parikrama this Kartik, and by this virtual Govardhana Parikrama, feel that we are directly there and doing it. So it's very nice. So Maharaj, I had one question, like if, as you mentioned earlier, that Radha Kund and Shyam Kund are compared to the eyes of Govardhan. So then how come there are at 3 different places Mukharvind?
Why is Krishna's mouth in one place and his eyes are in another place? That's your question?
I mean, there are 3 at 3 different places there are Mukharvind.
Why are there 3 Mukharvinds? That's your question?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. Gaudiyas, it depends on the tradition that you're with. The Gaudiyas accept Mukharavind is at Manasi Ganga. And if you're a follower of Ballabhacharya, you accept that it's at Jatipur. And if you're a fundraiser, you make your own. That answer your question?
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Anish Prabhu, can you unmute yourself?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I have 2 questions. Second question is simple yes or no. First question is you said, we followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu do not walk over Govardhan Hill. Is it like Mahaprabhu don't want to put foot on the best of devotees, Haridas Varya? And or is it some other reason that Mahaprabhu didn't walk over Govardhan?
That's the reason. And please understand that Govardhan is simultaneously Haridas Varya and Hari. We don't put our foot on a deity, right? And Govardhan is worshipable as a deity, just like Shalagram Shila. It doesn't need to be installed. Govardhan Shila doesn't need to be installed, as we saw as we were moving along. People are worshipping Govardhan just by the side of Govardhan Hill. Govardhan is both Hari and Haridas.
Okay, Maharaj. So I think you answered my second question as well. So Govardhan is Hari, Das, Varya and Hari. So my second question was, do the deities like Narasinghadev, Lord Narayan that was shown in the Govardhan, are Govardhan carved stones or Govardhan carved deities?
No.
Okay. Okay, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sudama Vipra Prabhu, you had one more question, right? Can you unmute?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, one more question. While we see this Airavat Kund or Indra Kund and all these kunds, Govind Kund and all, what should be our mood at that point of time? I mean, should we take a dip in those holy kunds or not? And what should be our mood when we see them?
Well, the whole of Vrindavan is of the spiritual world. And Govardhan is part of Vrindavan. And there's a very special part of Govardhan, and that which is in the vicinity of Govardhan, which is similarly of the spiritual world and transcendental. So you can take bath, or you can place a few drops of water, like we saw Tamal Krishna Maharaj doing at Manasi Ganga, just placing a few drops on his head for taking bath, instead a few drops on your head. And that you get the spiritual benefit in either case. So what should be the mood is these are transcendental manifestations of Krishna's mercy, and there's different varieties and flavors and moods of Krishna's mercy. The unlimited Lord has so many moods and so many merciful features to him. So we're wanting purification from them. So the mood should be prayerful.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, Hare Krishna Maharaj, just a follow-up question to that. Is it the same with regard to other demigod deities in Vrindavan like Shiva and Lord Ganesha, Kartikeya deities which is in Vrindavan? Is it the same prayerful mood?
Vaishnavas see the demigods differently than those who are not Vaishnavas. So your question is, from a Vaishnava perspective, how should we see? We see that they're dear devotees of Krishna, and we offer respect to them as dear devotees of Krishna. Worship goes to Krishna. Devotion goes to Krishna. And we're offering our respects to these other personalities as very dear to Krishna. Another way of saying the same thing is bhakti Bhakti, we find in the last purport of chapter 6 Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti pertains to Krishna alone. One may offer respect and honor and all kinds of things to others, but Bhakti is for Krishna alone. So, as part of our Bhakti, we're respecting other entities who are dear to Krishna, as part of our service to Krishna. Okay? How are we doing?
Maharaj, I also have a question if you don't mind. Maharaj, in the first narration of today, the story of Abhimanyu and Gauri Devi and Jatila and so on, it made me wonder about especially who is Jatila, because she also features in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu at various points, chastising Radha Rani and so on. Is she a devotee, Maharaj, and is this her service?
When she plays a certain role, it's something like, I don't know so much about cooking, but it's something like chaunce. When you put a chaunce into a vegetable, it enhances the flavor of the vegetable. Jatila has a certain role of making obstacles in the meeting of Radha and Krishna. And that adds to the flavor of the meeting of Radha and Krishna. So your question is she a devotee? Well, she is acting in a service to Krishna, not in the mood of, let me bring pleasure to Krishna. But she brings pleasure to Krishna by obstructing the meeting of Radha and Krishna. That's her function.
I think that's all the questions from the Singaporean Maharaj.
Okay. Well, it's 8:25 and we've been here for almost 2 hours. And, the children are still standing. They didn't go to sleep yet. We have some question local, so anyone else in the room who would like to ask a question can do so.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the tour. Maharaj, you showed us so many kunds and so many temples, right? Next time, when I go to Vrindavan, if I want to visit these kunds and these temples, how many days should I plan for?
Seeing doesn't take so long. Hearing the katha takes a little longer than seeing. And walking takes longer than both.
It's true, Maharaj.
And many of these places, let's just say, when Parikrama is performed, even if you, let's say, if you're just going around Govardhana, if you went around Govardhana, it took 3 days, because sometimes devotee groups like to do that, or 2 days or 3 days. You're not going to see all those places anyways, because they're distant, like Gauri Kund. I've only very rarely been to Gauri Kund, because it's a lake, and it's not, so, because I know the Leela, and I really like the Leela, it's very sweet. We've spent some time, but even, so you may not go to Gauri Kund, you may not go to some of these other places because they're a little remote and they're not so often visited. So a lot how long you spend depends on how many of the places you want to visit and how fast you like to walk. I know Bir Krishna Maharaj likes Govardhan Hill more than likes. He has deep affection for Govardhan Hill. So I asked him, how long does it normally take if someone walks non-stop to walk around Govardhana Hill. Normal pace, not fast, not slow, normal pace. He said 5 to 6 hours. That's just to walk around, not to see anything. And he said the quickest he's done it was walking really fast. In just under 3 hours, he made it around Govardhana Hill. Like, that's a fast pace. Like, double your regular pace. So, seeing all the places, I don't know if you want to see all the places. You want to see all the places? Sure. Okay, you better have a guide. Including Garib Das, huh? Maybe not him. Saki Stali. It's a little out of the way. 3 days. 3 days just to see, and 3 days. Govardhana.
Maharaj, I think I missed this. You were also showing the Vamshivat, right?
Yes.
Around Govardhan. Is this the same Vamshivat that is close to the Radha Govinda temple?
Yeah. It's not close to the Radha Govinda temple. It's close to the Jamuna River. It's close to the Jamuna River. It's down at Vrindavan town, farthest you can go before you fall into the river.
But I'm not very familiar geographically, but I thought Govardhan is much further away.
I showed you, the purpose of showing those other places was to say, sometimes devotees think, oh, that's where Krishna did rasa dance. The point was, there's many places in Vrindavan. Many places in Vrindavan. Many places in Vrindavan. And tomorrow morning, their time tomorrow, this evening, we're going to see another place that Krishna performed by Radhakund. Multiple places. The point was, it's not just one place, and here are some photographs of some of those places. It's not at all near Govardhan.
So there are many Vamshivats.
No, there's one Vamshivat. That one Vamshivat is not at all near Govardhan. Yes. Vrindavan town, just before the Jamuna River. Okay. You got to come a little closer, maybe. No, okay. The cable's good. Hare Krishna.
So Maharaj, my question is regarding
Talking about?
Babas who were collecting money, in Vrindavan. Like when we approach, what should be our mood there?
Respectful. Smile.
And they are also devotees.
They're devotees. We're respectful. You may not be engaging with them, but you'll be respectful. And they may want you to be engaging with them, and you just continue to smile and be respectful. Sometimes they get aggressive. I mean, not too many places, but some places are really aggressive. They grab you. I've been grabbed. It's hard to remain respectful when they do that.
Since I came here. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I have one question. You said Champakalata was assisting Radharani to serve Krishna. Maybe my understanding is wrong. One point I understood like Champakalata is assisting Radharani to serve Krishna.
Well, specifically what's said about her was she understood the mellows of loving exchange very, very well. And
Yes.
when Radharani's emotions would go this way or that way, she was very expert at bringing her emotions again to that sweet, loving mood toward Krishna.
Yes, Maharaj. So, Raghunath Das Goswami or one Goswami, when they plucked the leaf or trees from Champakalata and Saki, that place, he rejected the food. So, I don't understand the connection. She's also helping Radharani to serve Krishna only, right?
Oh yeah,
So why?
he's an intense lover of Radharani,
Okay.
and the Radharani gopis, they have this transcendental, not material, transcendental competition with Champakalata and her gopis.
Okay. Understood, Maharaj.
Ah, it's transcendental. It's not material.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
So just hearing Champakalata,
Oh, okay.
that was a bhav. It's not, material friend-enemy thing.
Right.
Not at all.
Okay, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, I think we're done.
One question online.
One more question online. Okay, this is it because it's late.
Question from Amara Devidasi. I'm curious to know if there were footprints of Mother Surbi too, along with Airavat. Also, how do the ISKCON devotees take darshan of Govinda since they do not climb Govardhan?
I've not seen or heard of Surabhi footprints, but there may be. So that's a short answer is I don't know, but maybe. And then the second is, how do we take darshan of what? When we can't climb Govardhan Hill? What, take darshan of whom?
What is the second question?
Also, how do the ISKCON devotees take darshan of Govinda since they do not climb Govardhan?
Well, Govinda is not on top of the hill. What you mean is Gopal. You go to Natadwar, that's what you do. But we saw a deity of Gopal around Govinda Kund. And we'll see a deity of Govinda tomorrow. There's a Govinda temple at Radhakund. And we saw a Govinda temple around the Govinda Kund. So, that's what we do. We don't go on Govardhan Hill. You can send a photographer with a photo with your camera, and he can take a picture for you. Hare Krishna. I'd like to end. Can we end? Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Romapada Swami Maharaj ki.